What's going on, guys? Marc Griffin here. I got so excited for the initial interview that I actually forgot to introduce the series. So, welcome to In Search of Radio, a series dedicated to interviewing musicians, creatives, producers, directors, and everything in between, getting to know the human behind the passion. And I hope that you guys will rock with this particular interview, the lead singer of Pleasure Pill, Jonah. And it was really cool to actually break down the album, get to know who he is and the reason for his artistry and beyond. So, without further ado, here's episode one. First and foremost, thank you for agreeing to do this, man. I appreciate you so very much. Huge fan of your
Course,
work.
man.
You guys rock.
Thank you.
Of course,
Oh,
dude,
I
of
see
course.
the record. I see it.
It just, yeah, man. Yeah, it just came in
Nice.
today. It
Oh,
literally just came in
great.
today.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh my
I was
God,
gonna
that's so
I was
cool.
gonna do like a Jimmy Fallon yeah, so tell me about you, but you know what, you already called it out, so it's right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude.
Pleasure Pill, hang a star.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
That, yeah.
But with all that being said, how you feeling? It's a little under 24 hours. The album comes out. How you feeling, man?
Yeah. I mean, it's been kind of crazy to think about, you know. It's our first album, you know, and
Mm,
in a lot of ways the band kind of started with these set of songs, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, and we always kind of had the idea of the album, you know, from the start. So now that it's here, it's just like, whoa, you know, we just kind of did that. So it's just a cool feeling to bask in a little bit, you know.
yeah, yeah. So this is gonna be for um, In Search of Magazine. Obviously, there's
Mhm.
a series called In Search of Radio, where this people will be able to see your face. I'll edit this and everything like that. It'll look nice, but
Cool.
also it'll be on a podcast format as well, so people will be able
Neat.
to drive and listen to this. So with that being said, I do want to get into some story time, so that way
Oh,
the
great.
people can understand who and what Pleasure Pill is. So I know the group, five different dudes making this group up. There's Jonah, you,
Yeah.
Ethan,
Yeah.
Luke, Dom, and Ivan.
Ivan. Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that. So, how did you guys sort of come together and formulate this? I want to say musical Avengers, to get this thing going.
Ye- Yeah. So we all kind of, my brother is Ethan, so that comes with, you know. And then Dom is Ethan's age. They're like a couple years. I'm 25 and they're 22.
Mhm.
But we all kind of, the three of us kind of met going to the same skate park when we were little kids and stuff, and just kind of doing that. And that's where I met Dom. And then the other two, just through going to shows, you know, like Ivan was in one of my first bands that I was in, and then Luke had like a record label and like was just a singster kind of kid too, who was
Oh
just
wow.
going to shows. And yeah, and then once I kind of had these songs ready and kind of wanted to get a band together, it was like, okay, well, we're the people that could probably do it. And I just, you know, kind of just figured it could be them. So, yeah.
And with the energy and everything that you guys have sort of constructed and crafted for Pleasure Pill, um,
Mhm.
there have been numerous comparisons. The Kinks,
Mhm.
you have Oasis, which you guys have, also heavily drew comparisons to. But also, I think Liam Gallagher said something online about you guys saying you look dangerous, which is kind of sick.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that was a crazy little tip of the cap for sure.
so, like on a scale of 1 to 20, how hyped were you from that?
Oh, I was
'Cause-
out of my mind. I was. So we, I mean, you said story time, so here it goes. So we were on tour. It was like the beginning of tour. We had just played Portland and San Francisco, and we were in
Mhm.
Seattle. And we had an off day, so we went to a Mariners game,
Oh, sick.
and we watched the Mariners. That's a whole other story because that game was like a complete fucking mess. Like just
Wait,
the game
yeah.
itself was like just the most unfortunate ending to a baseball game ever. It
So
was so,
did the Mariners win that game?
dude. So we're Padre fans, but like I don't mind the Mariners. You know, I think it's no harm, no foul, and they're the home team, rooting for them and stuff. So it was the top of the ninth inning, 6-3 Mariners, right? And 2 outs, and the whole stadium was like, okay, like it's time for them to win, so let's all stand up.
Let's get up.
And also, like, I'm talking the whole game with like just the guy next to me, Mariner fan, just talking baseball the whole time. And it's cool. We're all excited, so we stand up and we're like, yeah, like, and then it's a single, and it's like, oh damn, okay, whatever, we're still good. That's another single. And it's like, damn, okay, I don't really feel too good right now. Home run. So they tied the fucking game. And then it goes into extras. The Mariners don't do anything. And then the Twins come back up to bat. And the whole game, the Mariner fans were booing Carlos Correa.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was on the Astros and, you know, both AL East teams. So they're not really fond of him. The whole game they're booing this guy, he comes up and just hits a nuke, dude. And just like completely just like silent, just like insanity. And like people started leaving. It was really bad, and it lasted the game was 12-6. It was just such a bummer. And then there was a fireworks show after.
Naturally.
And I'm not a Mariners fan, so I'm stoked. You know, at least I get some fireworks. But so all of that happens, you know, and you know, it's day off of tour. We're happy. We're living it up. And we're walking back to the hotel, and we like stop in 7-Eleven to like, you know, get some stuff. And I'm in line for 7-Eleven, and I look at my phone, and someone tagged us in that fucking tweet from Liam.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this, man?
Drop the slushy immediately, just like.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. And we were all like, that's a joke. Like, someone's taking it out on us. And I was like, yeah, probably. And then, like, right before bed, I was like, because I don't have Twitter, because, you know, I don't like Elon and stuff. But I downloaded it, and I was like, I need to figure out, you know, I need to do some forensic analysis on this tweet, because it's intense. And it was there, and I was like, damn, you know, like, and it was like 2 a.m. by this point, and I was like, you know, this is something, I don't know if it's like good nor bad right now, because it's so late, so I'm just gonna wait tomorrow. And then the next day comes, and it was like everyone was so soaked and just like, what the hell was that? You know, that's so crazy. But there's a story for you.
And so, like, with those comparisons, you know, to the Oasis of the world, the Kinks, the Undertones, I'm not sure if that best, I guess, represents or articulates who Pleasure Pill is. So could you break down for me who exactly Pleasure Pill is outside of the comparative language?
Yeah. I mean, what Pleasure Pill is to me, and I feel like to the rest of us, and to the people who really do seem to understand it, is just a band of 5 guys that kind of come from common places and just kind of, you know, have the spirit of rock and roll within them, and you know, like it's always been in you know, history's case. And for people that have come before us, like Oasis or like the Kinks or something like that, where it's just people not from anything but just choose to live and die by the sword and make music and kind of put all of their cards on the table, you know. And yeah, I think that's what I think when people compare us to whichever band, I feel like that's like really what they're feeling, but like just can't really like put it
like
into
a
words like
like a
that. Yeah,
returning of a feeling that they maybe have felt like when they were in their 20s or their
totally.
30s. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just because like I mean, it's like, and I don't really rock and roll still existed, but it hasn't existed, in my opinion, in the grandness of like a band like Oasis or like Nirvana or
Mm.
the
Oh,
Strokes or something, where
please
it's
speak on
like,
that. Please speak on that. That's
yeah, like, and that's like, for like, I say that all the time, where it's like
mhm.
these like meteoric bands, rock and roll bands that are like real everyday people in them. It's just, and they become this like ginormous thing where they like change culture and all that stuff. It's really like a folk tale for me, and like I've never experienced a band, or to be frank, even like a cultural moment like that. I feel like Charlie got the closest last year with Brat and stuff like that. But even then, it's like, is that really? Do I see myself fully in that? Not entirely, So
yeah.
it's just trying to give the people, like you and I and stuff like that, like a voice of, you know, just regular folk, you know.
And so how important, going back to your point about living and dying by the sword, rock and roll sword, how
Mm.
important is it, do you think, um, is it to carry on the tradition and sort of like I don't know, the historical element of what rock is, to so many different people, globally, but just
Mm.
bringing it in and focusing a bit, like here in America, where you have that lineage of Jimi Hendrix, you have that lineage
Yeah,
of Sly, you have that lineage
yeah,
of Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all these
yeah.
different facets of the rock tree. But
Mm.
where we are now, rock and roll is not necessarily like the number one genre, in the
Mm.
country. So
Mm.
how important is it for you, to make sure that you're doing the knowledge of making sure like the history is there? I'm well referenced, I'm well read, I'm well
Yeah,
listened in my genre.
yeah,
How important is
yeah.
that for you?
That's everything to me, really. I mean, because music really is like power, and
Hmm.
there is like a real like like religious kind of point that you can kind of take from it as well, of like,
Hmm.
you know I worship, people like John Lennon and David Bowie, and I you know the same, I'm on the same venture as they were,
Yeah.
no matter what. And there's these traditional points in each one of those people's games, of like, Lennon or Bowie or Kurt or Jimmy or whoever it was, that they kind of have a through line through all of them, and that is what kind of rock and roll is to me. And to not withhold that, but to still try to make rock and roll music, it's just like you're kind of stepping ahead of yourself. You need to be educated, you need to be informed and kind of culturally aware of the things you're doing, and
Hmm.
that's and especially with rock and roll, because it hasn't really, like, hip hop, I'd say, is like kind of it has been the like sonic backbone of like pop culture and music for a long time, which isn't a bad thing, but it's
Hmm.
just like rock and roll is like it's not as kind of present anymore. So I think
Yeah.
to withhold those traditions is a super important thing, kind of
Yeah.
a big reason why I do it.
And I think you can feel that too in the, taking it a year back, to your
Mm.
live, project,
Mm.
Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah.
Um, Fire, by the way, like the
Oh, thank you.
energy in that room, that felt, I felt like I was there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Oh,
just
wow.
listening to it on my MacBook. It felt good. Um,
Cool.
but I can hear it in like the sort of the moments where you give off like a tribal scream, like at the end of, the intro song. That
Oh,
scream
yeah.
that, yeah, the scream that you let out, like that's,
Mm.
some people might, pass by and it's like, oh yeah, this guy is just really into it. But
Mm.
that feeling is inadvertently like it's kind of punk. It's kind of it is rock and roll. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
there's a feeling of it, the emotional weight of it that I can relate to on a hip hop element because that is like
Right.
just the raw emotion. So when you're doing something live like that and you're connecting with the audience, I mean, obviously you're an artist, so you're present and you're trying to just make sure that you're not messing up the lyrics or anything like that. But how much of a weight is it on you that you're present and you are doing these songs with this energy? Like you said, it's like a music is a powerful tool, and
Yeah.
you're basically like commanding an audience. They're
Mm.
controlling their body with your tone. How much of that is going through your brain when you're up there? I'm not sure how much of a compulsive or very
Mm.
intricate artist you are, but how much of that is going through your brain?
Yeah, I when it comes to playing live, I definitely have like I definitely the big thing I've been feeling lately is just like fully grateful. That's like the
Mm,
first thing I feel, and just like, you know, fuck yeah, I can like do this, and like I'm here, and I like, this is the last show I ever played, and let's fucking have it, like,
let's
let's
go.
do it.
Yeah.
And I think, um, the spirit of our music really does fall in my head is like kind of like this play with like optimism and being like determined and like hungry and stuff like that. And when I sing the songs and when I'm there, it doesn't really matter who's there. I'm just like given what the music's given and stuff like
Mm,
that. And I think that's just and it's not really out of like a desire to like want to, or like I'm not like conscious of like I need, let the people know what this music feels like or something. It's
yeah.
just like that's what it is, like I can't stop, you know what's natural, and that's kind of where it falls and stuff for me. you know
How do you feel about that live album? Is it high on your list, or is it like I kind of want to move past
I
it?
I love it. I love the I mean, it was just such a like random occurrence for one. Like we just showed up to the venue and like we were
Oh,
on
so that wasn't
tour.
planned at all.
No.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
we
makes it
just
even
we
better.
dude, yeah. So we were on tour last spring and we were supporting a band. We had like like 4 East Coast like headlines at like whatever little dodgy like kind of dive bars or something like that, just to like keep us busy and stuff. And this was one of them. And we show up and like the sound guy was just like, it's $75 if you want to record your set. And we were just like, oh yeah, that seems like a good move.
Yeah.
Like like just out of like being curious what we said, because like I've never heard us play live and stuff, so we did it and it was cool and it came out rad. I mean, we spent a good time mixing it with Eric, who also did the record. And it was also, for context too, like when we were mixing this live record, we like hadn't committed to doing the record with Eric yet, and
Mm,
like Hang a Star, and this record too was like kind of really hands on for us. So it was kind of the live record really did serve a purpose internally for us as being like, okay, let's see what this could maybe look like of like tackling a record on our own per
yeah.
se, and
Yeah.
like mixing the live record really did kind of give us that. And, we just kind of left it knowing like what we wanted from our actual record and knowing kind of closer of like how we could do that, and it was just really really good for that. And I love I just love how it sounds too. I just think it's such a
It's
badass
raw. It's
recording.
so
Yeah,
nice, man.
it's just so right. You know, it's just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like equal parts refreshing, but also like vintage at the same time. It's kind of
Yeah.
it caught me by surprise when you said that it wasn't playing because I'm like, that's crazy. It sounds like you guys were like, okay, we're gonna move with intention and we're going to
Yeah.
make this sound like this. That's crazy.
Well, we do. I mean, in a sense, like you're not wrong about
Hmm.
that, but it was more that thought process was more the care we took to just like the live show,
Mm,
you know, and
yeah.
like we really like even this record. It's just like there's no like if we didn't put in the work of like figuring out what we were as a band, just like the five of us on stage or playing wherever, like we wouldn't have this product really. Like it is the whole thing is it's not a record of like, oh, we're a band now, let's like be clever and think of a
Yeah.
record, you know. It's
Right.
a record of like, okay, like we're a fucking band and like the time's right to like record what we got right now and like we could really bring out what we are right now, you know.
Yeah.
So that's like really what it is.
And it's that sort of like that raw, I feel unpolished but ready for like the big league sort of energy,
Mm,
where I was kind of taken aback by when I first heard you guys. And so it was
mm.
also kind of surprising to me when your team, shout out to Ashley, when she sent me the press release, and there was like I wasn't sure if it was cheeky or not, but like the more I read about you guys, I realized it was a cheeky way of kind of playing into the lore about you
Yeah.
guys being courted and then shunned by major labels, probably for being just too good. And then I read further and I was like, oh, wait, this is like sort of based on a true story about them, you know, having tons of offers around the pandemic era. And then all
Mm.
of a sudden things just drying up. Can you sort of elaborate on that for me? Like, how did that go down? And how did it go from hot to cold to then signing with a la carte records for Hang a Star?
Yeah. So our band started kind of like I kind of wrote, to be frank, a good chunk of the record during COVID, you know, or
Hang a
like at
Star?
least yeah. So I at least I maybe not a good chunk of it, but I the ideas definitely started from there. Yeah, let's pull it up, dude. Come on, show the people.
Yeah, let's show the good
Look
people.
at
There we
that
go.
handsome
Yeah,
fella. Look
there
at
we go.
him.
Ah, there we go. Look at
That
that,
is a
ladies and gentlemen.
record. Wow.
Pleasure Pills debut album right here. We got Hang a Star. Look at that. All the guys. Where was this
I,
taken?
that was taken. So that is. It's called Marston House, and it's a. I don't know how to put it. Like I think it's a museum that you can walk into, but I've never done that. But outside, it just has a bunch of beautiful like gardens, and it's just an old house in San Diego, kind of right next to Balboa Park, and it's kind of hidden. But I just, you know, I've gone to that place a bunch just on my own and like picnics and, you know, frolicking as a young man does, you know, and I was, you know, I was like, this would be a fucking great little place, and I love how it's like in San Diego and it's kind of like a
So
cool spot for.
is the blue and or is the brown and yellow the Padre that intentional?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you
that's
gotta do
intentional.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Hang a Star is a Padre reference too. It's there was an old announcer, Jerry Coleman, who he whenever something epic on the field would happen, you know, that he would go, you can hang a star on that one. So it's like that's the
Oh,
play, you know, because we made a great
wow.
record, and he's screaming up there probably right now. So
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you talked about that Seattle Mariners story because it all is connected. That's nice. Look at that.
we're pretty at least myself. There's not much going up on here, you know. It's rock and roll and Padres and baseball and like just that really,
We'll
it's
have to
not.
we'll have to catch a game or something out here in New York City or out there in San Diego. That'd be a
Oh,
good time.
are you a Yankee fan or are you
I'm
like
a I'm a sports fan. I'm a huge sports fan.
okay,
I
me
mean,
too, yeah.
in regards to every sport, yeah, I'm a sports fan. But I'm a huge
Cool.
football fan. And
Cool.
by that I mean NFL. Like I'm from Buffalo originally, so go
Oh,
Bills.
gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
But when I'm out here in New York City right now. Me and my wife MJ, we usually catch like a Yankees game. We've been to several Yankees games,
Yeah.
and it's been a good time. You know, seeing Aaron Judge just ding one to the heavens.
I know, yeah. I was well when I was a kid, um should I say this on there? Yeah, I probably should. So I was I was a bit of a Yankee fan when I was a kid, just because Padres were just fucking awful, and I loved baseball, and Derek Jeter was on the Yankees, and he was the fucking man. So
What's
it's
there
like,
not to love? What's there
and
not
it
to
was
love?
like 2008, fucking A-Rod and Jeter and Cano and Obama was president. It was
Yeah,
great. You know what I
it's a
mean? Of
good
course I'm a
time.
Yankee. Yeah, it was great. Now the fucking Dodgers won the World Series, and we got ding dong up top. You know what I mean? What the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, but I apologize. You were about to tell me the origin story of what happened when you guys got denied by the major labels, and then you
Oh,
guys turned it around into a la carte records. Look at us. Look, we're bros, man.
yeah, we go back, man. It just goes deep.
Oh
But
man.
so yeah, the we kind of started forming in like 2021, and
Hmm.
it we were just kind of like a bar band, like prototypical, just like San Diego thing, and then I don't even really remember like why or how like labels started talking to us and like other people, but it started kind of going a little bit, and it was like, oh, this new person, oh gosh, and then it's like it was like, did I make it? You know what I mean? Am I here? Did
Yeah.
I do it? And then it's just like, but we had just started, so there was no like internet presence or anything
Mm,
like that, and they were really just kind of interested in like the music, which is like a great thing for labels to
yeah,
be interested in, you would think. And
for
then,
sure.
but once like kind of that discrepancy of like not having followers or listeners or anything, kind of came, it was like, oh well, all these label people like they're not really interested in like developing us. They're kind of just interested in like,
Taking
um,
a already finished product and then
yeah, yeah,
wow.
it's like, oh, like we're gonna, when are they, when's, whoever can sign us, and it's like, oh, that's not like, they're
That's
like,
kind
why
of
would they?
backwards.
Yeah, because you would think like a record label like is there to make bands happen. But
Yeah.
now bands kind of have to make it happen for them to even be interested. It's just
Interesting.
like it's prototypical music industry suits, like not having a backbone and being kind of scared to like actually go with what they enjoy,
Of
and
course.
not, like it's that's all it really is. It's just people who like are in charge of music who don't really care about music. It's
Right.
simple as that.
And so how did that lead you to a la carte records?
They were just we were just hit up by them probably like a year and a half ago or something, and they, you know, like with every label, there's always great labels that like do the right thing and that are interested and like want to put out good music and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and they were one of them, and they reached out and they were like, whenever you guys need a record out or whatever it is, and if things aren't sorted with other labels or something like that, like we could just do it, and like the deal's simple, and like
Wow.
it'll be great. And we were just at the point where we're like, well, yeah, we fucking have a record, like it's time to fucking put it out, and it's gonna be great, and like people are gonna love it, and it's just kind of shame on whoever didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be plenty of people that are gonna lose their jobs for not signing us. You know what I mean? Like it's just a fact. Like we are a great band, and people like great bands and great music, and there's not much else to discuss. You know what I mean? It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time, and it's people like All Apart Records and other like independent like music industry people that actually do like change the culture and like really take chances and do the right thing for people. You know, so
Hell yeah.
couldn't be happier. You know.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I mean, Hang a Star is, to me, is equal parts, like sort of confident with this sort of inquisitive nature to it. But there's
Mm,
also, uh, and I'm not even sure if I've said this. I might have written this a couple times, but
mm.
um, refreshingly human. And in this
Yeah.
era of AI and our culture becoming increasingly more robotic, it feels good to have sort of the essence of human touch onto an instrument, and you can feel the
Mm-hmm.
raw emotion of
Mm-hmm.
you penning a song and then having that translate through the notes and the performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask you though, was there a clear sort of message that you went in with, or did you or did you maybe find like a through line of messages when you went back to listen to the album?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I think the through line for me, which definitely doesn't have to be the case for everyone. Like
Mm-hmm.
I hope people listen to this record and they think about their own lives and they, put it to them and like, this record isn't mine. It's everyone else's. Like
Right.
it's what I'm interested in. But
Yeah.
for me, I think when I think of the record, I just think of my youth and like celebrating that, and also being this point where there's so much drive within us, and there's so much optimism and like that resilience and stuff like that, with really having nothing to like put it to other than the music. Like it's really like this album is really just like a great just like chancer story, of people just like wanting to do what they want with their lives and not stopping it by any means necessary, like just really giving it all and doing it.
I feel like you can sort of feel that optimism too through the cover art, as we discussed
Mm-hmm.
earlier, and where it was
Mm-hmm.
based in, where it was shot. Um, so, why did you feel it was sort of important for you to begin the album with, I believe, favorite color gold, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
ended with "Don't Fly Away." Were those?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when you're putting together an album, you're trying to sequence it right so that way it flows well, but also
Mm-hmm.
in regards to like the feeling and the emotion and the
Yeah.
messaging as well. Why were those two songs important to sort of like start and then book in this album?
Yeah. I think for gold, favorite color gold, I think for me that is just like it was from its inception. It was just screaming out of opener, and just like it just is what the fuck it is, like that
Yeah,
is like the fuck
word.
it is. It's smells like Teen Spirit. It's Bittersweet Symphony. It's a real powerful like piece of music, that one. And
It's almost like a roar of a generation too.
yeah, man, and it's first line, right out the gate is "I believe in me," and that's like that is the testament. That is like, I'm fucking here. Let's roll,
Let's
and like
go.
and it's just a real cool little way to start it for us. And then for "Don't Fly Away," that was just a song that I had for a while. Um, and it was one of those like it was one of those songs where I wrote and I figured out and I kind of had and I was just like, this is like a 6.5 minute epic song that can only fit really at the end of the record. And it's so like there's so much depth to it, and it's really powerful. And this is how to fucking end the record. Like, this is just
Yeah,
what it is. It's, I mean, really, with the whole track list, it's pretty, even with the writing, man, like, I'm not like a, snobby songwriter guy or something. I
yeah,
just like write songs. So I don't even like really recall like when I've written these songs or like track listing or like any of that stuff. It kind of just really came from wherever it came from, and I was just there to kind of receive it, the
yeah.
whole record. So it's interesting to reflect on.
And so with, like I said before, a little under 24 hours to go, uh,
Mhm.
how do you feel about the album now as opposed to when you first crafted it? Like, it's about to come
Mm.
out, it's about to be the world's, it's not yours anymore, it's theirs, they can
Yeah,
do whatever they want. How do we feel?
I feel amazing. Uh, just with everything, like we just ended tour and we like, the press stuff and, you know, Instagram stuff and TikTok stuff and like just all the things. And, you really forget to like kind of sit back with it and figure it out and realize like, what does this moment kind of mean for me? And I was able to do that really like the last couple of days. And, I listened to the record for the first time in a long time. Um, just like, damn, like
Yeah.
that is the fucking shit. And
Like,
there's
damn,
like
we're
not,
good. Yeah.
yeah, like that. There's like nothing left on the table. And I've been making music since I was 14ish. And I went to art school and I'm
Mm,
a pretty creative person, and I've never really felt this fulfilled from a project ever in my life, and I've never kind of felt this gratification of like, wow, like nothing was sacrificed or like
right.
like it's all like when I see the record or when I listen to it or watch
This
the
is my
music
authentic
videos.
self in sonic form.
Yeah, and it's just like fully like
Yeah.
that. And there's a lot of security in that too, because it's like, well, I did my job. It's fine,
Yeah.
whatever happens, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like I will stand with this record for the rest of my life, and that's just fact.
And how are we celebrating it tonight? I saw that there's gonna be a celebration in San Diego. There's gonna be like a listening party or something. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? Walk me through it.
So tonight I might go to a friend's show, but can't make it about me. It's the friend's show. We got
Toast to me,
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's up? You did great, but check
Yeah,
this
it's
record.
not pleasure pill. What can I say?
But tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll probably just like be in like the weirdest headspace ever and just be like, what the heck? And then tomorrow night we play at the Whistle Stop, which is like our local kind of just bar, and we
Hmm.
we haven't played there ever, um, but fans do play there, and it's going to be a benefit show for ICE detainees and stuff, and it's just going to be like a really great like just community moment, and the people that go to that bar like know every fucking person knows that band and like
Hmm.
knows that like I'm in that band, and we there's at that bar a little shout out. So like Whistle Stop where we're having the show, we've been going there for years really, and there's a shout out I want to have for homie Daniel Sant. He has, people always ask us, it's like, well, why the fuck is there this goddamn San Diego band that, has haircuts like that and plays music like that? What the hell is happening here, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say, he, since we've been going there, I mean, actually, like, for the last, like, 20 years, he's had at the Whistle Stop this Britpop, like, indie DJ night that he DJs, and it just is like you know, that's like where we all, when we were turning 21, like we would go to those nights.
Hmm.
And like we liked Britpop and like we were all like kind of mods and like punk rockers and like stuff like that. But like we
Yeah.
were, it was really the first time in my life where I was like going to an event or a place that was like playing like the music I listened to, and like I was able to worship the music, you know, and like
Yeah.
be there and like, you know, dance. And so it's great to have this show there because it's like this full circle of like, wow, like this is kind of where the band kind of grew from in a lot of ways, you know, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, that's super sick, man. And it's really cool too that you guys are doing something where all the proceeds are obviously going to something that is so important, especially
Yeah.
what's happening right now in California. And I know
Yeah.
that 3/5 of Pleasure Pill are actually Mexican heritage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like super like shout out to you guys. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
man,
awesome.
it's just, you know, we're like 10 minutes from the border, and
Hmm.
we're like where we recorded the record, you know, the studio we recorded at is you have to take the last USA exit to get to the studio.
Wow.
So
Wow. That's insane.
we're like fully there. Um, and I say that to also reiterate that there's not a fucking problem and there's nothing really fucking happening. And all the people who kind of think um, that this is just like this insane place where immigrants are taking over and fucking, you know, all the fucking god awful things that they say about these people. It's like you're just, and like with peace and love, you're just wrong, and you're just like not informed
Hmm.
on the right thing. And then also, you know, where this bar is at, you know, while we were on tour, there was a raid like a block away from where this bar is at that we're having the show
Wow.
tomorrow. So it really is just like, you know, all hands on deck. Like this is like where we kind of fall into this equation as far as being musicians, and letting people know that it's okay to gather and to celebrate our lives still, and to, you know, really, like, we don't need to let anyone stop us, you know, and
Yeah, for
we can,
real.
you know, we can fight the power and do what we want. So
So, while we're on this discussion, well, first and foremost, thank you for sharing that.
mm,
Because I know a lot of artists like to play it safe. So
yeah, yeah,
I do
sure.
want to say thank you for that, and being brave enough to talk about that.
Mm,
And I also want to send love to the homies in the band who have family members, Mexican family members, or anybody like friends in general who
for
may have
sure,
been
yeah.
improperly targeted over there. Because I know that's just all a bunch of bullshit, and I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
personally falling for it. But with that being said, um, how did that sort of like impact you guys as on a human level, but also an artist level? Because obviously the last 4 years have been kind of interesting how we're kind of getting out of one presidential um,
Yeah.
backdrop into another one and things drastically change. How did that sort
Yeah.
of like impact the lives of you guys and the mission for Pleasure Pill moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, as far as impacted, or I mean, my life, like I, you know, he has brought me so much just anger and like just frustration, and just like how fucking could you, you know, like it's pretty
Yeah.
despicable. But as far as like, you know, we were on tour when that raid happened in our city, and then when the LA stuff started, we were still gone, and it really just put into perspective of like, this is like what I'm here for, and like this is like what, like this is as much a part of the job, you know, standing up to the truth, and
Hmm.
like standing up, you know, and, you know, fighting the power per se, is as much of what it means to be a rock and roll band than anything else. And just knowing that like our duty in this whole game, I feel like shouldn't be taken lightly, and
Hmm.
two, it's we're meant to provide that escapism, or let people feel safe or comfortable, and just letting people know that there's like people just like you out
Yeah.
there, and
Word.
that think the same thing, and that goes for the people that obviously agree with the things I have to say or the things I believe in, but it also goes for the people that don't. And like I'm here to show everyone that it's like, dude, like we are together for whatever it may be, and we all kind of want the same thing. So we should stop, should stop pitting against each other and just really enjoy life together and just love each other. That's really what it is. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, man, it is. And it's just so disheartening, because it's like
Mm,
one moment you one moment you'll just be living your regular life, you know what I mean? Just
mm,
doing the thing that you always
mm.
do, go to the gym, call your mom, whatever, you know what I mean? Come back, and then all of a sudden some wild stuff is going down that you
Oh,
have,
it's like the most just like schizophrenic bipolar time
you
ever.
know,
It
you
just is
know.
so it's like we were at the Padre game the other day with my friends, and I haven't seen them in a while. It's like me and my brother, and just like loving it, just having such a fun time. And then it's like
Kicking
all
it.
this Iran shit starts, and it's just like, fuck, bro, like why do you have to like can't fucking get a day off with this shit? Like tone it fucking down, my man. It's
it,
insane. Like
it's
for what? But it's all part of the scheme, and just all part of like them,
it's
wanting to divert our attention other places. And
yeah, it's
it's
all
just
this it's like it's like a hodgepodge of buzzwords, but they're all so accurate. It's like a hyper
yeah.
masculine toxic soup, and it's all for political
Oh,
nonsensical
yeah,
gain. And it's like, what is going
yeah.
on, bro? Like, if you,
All the bad words. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
all of them,
it's
literally
got
every single
nothing
one you
good.
can think of. Like, it's like, dog, don't you just want to like put on a record, maybe play the
Oh yeah.
Nintendo Switch, like maybe just like
Oh,
take a
oh,
break, bro? Like,
dude,
what's
go
wrong with you?
outside, touch some grass, and
Touch some grass.
just it's things aren't fucking back. It's not. It's okay, man. It's fine. We can just have fun, hang out. It's cool. No, we gotta be tripping up over everything. Let's just fucking leave us be. You know.
So moving forward, how have you guys like sat down and talked about this? Like as a, I was gonna say a family. I mean, as a band, but also like a family. Like, all right, so
Yeah,
if
yeah.
things pop off while we are maybe are on tour or something like that again, or while we're just out and about trying to just exist, like, is there like a specific sort of game plan or anything like that? I know a lot of people, back in 2020 when there was a lot of protests and whatnot in the streets for in response to the murder of George Floyd. Like, I was out there
Yeah,
with my
yeah,
wife and
yeah.
everything like that, and we were protesting, and we had like plans in place just in case something happened. So I just wanted to know if
Mm.
you guys implemented anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like conversations, we've definitely talked a lot
Hmm.
about everything, and all of these ideas too. I hope everyone knows, like, it's not just like me or like one other guy in the band that is like needs to be a fucking benefit show. Like like things like this. It's got to be all in or all out.
Yeah.
Just because like
Yep.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have someone within the band feel uncomfortable about certain things, because it is scary, and there is like a lot of responsibility to be had when you speak out and stuff like that. But um, as far as like any gnarly like doomsday-ish plans in a way of like if this shit really does go south. Which like I mean yeah, we had a conversation like going into like when we played LA and stuff and like
Mm,
what that was gonna look like. Um, and yeah, I mean we're also like not naive people and like we have pretty a pretty strong sense of like, oh, this is a bad situation, let's like get the fuck out of here or like stuff like that. But you know, it's just a matter of continuing those conversations really. I mean like no one can really be on their heels right now. It's kind of always being
yeah.
aware, but not have it be um, all encompassing in your life. Because I feel like that's another thing that he kind of and these people kind of want is like for us to
Yeah.
like completely be consumed with him and all the fucking crazy shit he's got going. And it's like, no, like he doesn't mean anything to me, you know, he's worthless, you know, so why spend so much time, you know, considering. But yeah, it's just a crazy. Every day's different, and every day comes with new learning, and it's just a time to like you know for everyone listening at home or something like that. If you are not doing, or if you are not doing what you love right now, then
Mhm.
you need to get the fuck on with it because there is
Amen.
no time. There's no time to waste on no fucking on your fucking job you hate, and there's no time to waste at the fucking apartment you fucking think is smelly or something. Like you gotta fucking let's get on with like fucking having it, you know, and because it's just the time is fucking now to like really do what the
Hell
fuck you
yeah.
want, and just let it ring, you know.
Hell yeah. All right. So let's end it with something positive.
Yes.
Let's bring the air back into the room and let's do this. I'm gonna hit you with a series of questions.
Oh great.
The first one is gonna be taking it back to the origins of the band, but then after that, we're gonna really get to know you and what you like. So boom.
Oh good.
What the hell is a pleasure pill?
Well, my friend, um, depends who's asking. No, I'm kidding. It's just, you know, it's just the name of our band. And it was a name that kind of came about a couple, like, kind of before this band started. I had
Hmm.
a quick little band with Luke. Um, and we called it that. We called it Pleasure Pill. And then once this thing sort of started, we were just like, oh, well, like maybe we carry that name over and just have it be that. But I think it comes from like a Northern Soul like '60s song or something, Pleasure
Oh,
Pill.
Northern.
But
You said
really,
a
I did,
Northern
yeah,
Soul?
yeah, Northern Soul, yeah, like no,
Wow.
like upbeat soul music, you know what I mean? But
Huh.
yeah, but I always tell people, you know, just you know, I woke up one morning and the guy from the sky just came up down on me and said, "You will be in a band called Pleasure Pill from this day forward." So
I mean
it's
that
just what it
that
is, you know.
explanation is gonna look crazy in the biopic, so I think you should run with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna go crazy in
I
the
think it's
biopic.
good. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
good. The more people think you're fucking out there, the more it's probably better for you.
And then when you need somebody to write a like a biography about you or something like that, it's gonna be more like enshrouded in mystique and things of that nature.
Yeah,
Because like
and we
this
could
guy's
really
fucking
play
out
into
there.
that. Yeah, if we could really play into that story of you know what that meant. But yeah, it's just a name that kind of comes like any other band name from fucking nowhere. You know, the name
So
too much.
5 favorite albums all time,
Hmm.
anytime, any place, any genre,
Yeah.
any face.
Hang Star for sure. This one. Um,
Obviously,
yeah, that one. That one is just so good, isn't it? It's
it's
crazy.
so
But
good.
it's incredible. But I probably go Stone Roses self-titled. It's probably my favorite. I love Revolver.
Ooh,
Probably go. Mm, probably go. I'm a pretty simpleton kind of guy. It's kind of Revolver, it's Pet Sounds. It's probably lately it's been. I mean, I love Urban Hymns by The Verve, and I'd probably go Ladies and Gentlemen, We Were Floating in Space by Spiritualized. That's probably right now, but I could like anyone. I could go on forever. You know.
So, what is it about those albums in particular that speak to you and your human experience and also your artistry?
It's a good. Yeah. What's the through line? I mean, all of those records are just. They have their aspect of like, where the fuck could this have possibly have come from for these people, you know? And
Yeah.
What is fucking happening? Like that feeling, you know, of like Jesus Christ, you know, this is like insanity, you know. I mean, you can't listen to like Tomorrow Never Knows or like She Bangs the Drums or
Man, that's a
like
good song.
all of those songs are just like fucking like what like you got that one, you know, you wrote that, that's incredible, you know. And for me as like a songwriter, those five records definitely serve as like a north star for me. It's just like I'm like that's the feeling I'm looking to give to people is just like not really for myself, but just like I want people to listen to music and be like, fuck dude, I see it and I feel it and I like totally understand it and there's nothing left behind. It's just fully this, you know. But yeah, and they're all cool bands, you know.
Fuck yeah. Well, if there is one stadium in the world that you would want to sell out and play for a week, which stadium would that be?
I mean, I think the Petco Park shows will be great. You know, San Diego and that. I mean, I've been going to Petco since I was a kid, you know, so that's the moment for sure. And I mean, other than that, I mean, once that's off the list, it's time to just start checking off like the Wembleys and like just like, you know, all of the grand, like insane venues, you know.
Yeah.
That's like what it is for me, you know. Like whichever place you're thinking of in your head, it's like probably in my head too. So all of those epic.
Biopic about Pleasure Pill. We need to find somebody to play Jonah. Who the hell is playing Jonah and why?
I don't know if anyone's cool enough for it, but probably.
Yo, this guy's a rock star.
I would probably say, gosh, I mean, he's got a number and a grip on that. Yeah, he's got a grip on the world right now, so he's probably the only one that can stay close. But
Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, man. You know, something like that. He's handsome.
I mean, I could see it. I could see it.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I might just have to get in there just to do it justice. You know? So,
I'll just do it myself.
I'll just do it myself. But someone, you know, I'll spend the rest of the day just thinking about that question.
if there is one era of music that you would have loved to exist in, other than the right now, which one would that be? Just one.
Yeah, I'll probably go
with your boys and everything. Like you just take yourself in.
I would have to go just like punk rocker in the 70s in like New York, you know, just like a rad, dirty little band that is just kick ass and does it all, and everyone's like, fuck yeah, that's the shit. But I will say there is a dude, so I read Bobby Gillespie's book from Primal Scream, and he lived through every great generation of music, really, if you think about it, because he starts his book, and he's like, my first memory was like seeing the Beatles on TV, you know. I was
Yeah,
like, that's fucking cool. And then he was like, I was 12 years old, and it was like David Bowie, you know, T-Rex and all those bands. And then like when he was in high school, or when he was like a teenager, it was like the Sex Pistols and the Clash, you
that's
know, and
insane. Yeah,
just like fully in there. And then in the 80s, he was like in the Jesus and Mary Chain, which is like an amazing band, but also like early 80s, he was like a roadie for like Susie and the Banshees and like was just like still there, you know? And then
yeah.
in the 90s, he's in fucking Primal Scream and like The Man. And it's just like, dude, this guy just fucking spawned in like the dopest shit ever. Like, what the fuck? Oh,
Just
and I'm
spawning
just fuck,
into
yeah,
greatness is crazy.
I'm stuck here with fucking Sabrina Carpenter, you know, and like fucking whatever. And I'm just like, fucking, you could have saved some for me, you
Jonah,
know?
please, Jonah, please.
I'm just, you know, I'm just saying, you know, it's pretty incredible.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that is thinking about that from that perspective, that is kind of cool. Like I think about my father in that regard because he was born in the 60s, like 1960. So he was able to
Mm,
see the sort of like packaging of music evolve.
yeah,
So like cassette
cool.
tapes and vinyls and like that's kind of
Sure.
sick. So when you think about
Yeah.
it like that, it's like, damn, it's one, it's really dope. But two, it's like, that's got to be jarring sometimes. When you sit back and think about it, it's like, whoa, where
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah. It's like, what the that was all me, you know, or like I lived
Yeah.
through all that shit. Where it's like me, I'm just sitting here just like, can't wait for, you know, a cool moment for me, you know, but yeah, like my parents have the same, I feel like my parents are a bit younger, but they like remember like the big moment I think for them was like the Nirvana
Mm.
MTV vibe
Oh
and just
yeah,
being like,
yeah,
oh shit, this is like gonna fucking really change the world kind of thing. And then they saw Oasis on like their first American tour
yeah.
in San Diego and like full like record not out yet and like fully fighting on stage and just like the whole nine, you know. And like my
Wow.
parents are just like that. It's the same band we're gonna go fucking see, you know, in a couple weeks at fucking Rose Bowl and something. That's so insane, you know. But
So I guess the
crazy.
question, of who has directly influenced your music taste, I guess the answer would be your parents.
Yeah, they definitely had a part for sure. They grew up kind of they met really kind of going to like punk rock shows and hardcore shows. Like my dad played music um,
Oh wow,
for
that's badass.
he still does, but he uh, he was yeah they met through that and just going to shows. And then when yeah I kind of made it for like when I was born, I kind of was just like you know given the bands that people find when they're in high school kind of thing. And that attached to like I kind of when I was a little kid I was like just like instinctively attracted to like the Beatles and stuff. So
Yeah.
that kind of like on my own mixed with like their influence and stuff was just kind of like what came to be, you know.
Wow, that's super sick. What is one of your earliest memories um, with music in your life that you maybe played a huge role in the development
Mm,
of what you ended up liking and what you ended up playing? Because for me personally, I know that like going through my sister's CDs and her Vibe
mm.
magazines and things of that nature, I know that changed my life forever. So, is
Yeah,
there a moment like that
yeah.
for you?
I remember. I mean, there's definitely a lot. Like, I think about being like a really, really little kid and just being um, pretty blown away immediately just by music. Um, I remember, I remember really. I mean, really before the Beatles, I was into this movie. I don't know if you ever see this called That Thing You Do. Um,
Who's in that?
and it's a Tom Hanks movie, and it's essentially it's like filmed in the '90s. It has like Liv Tyler in it, um, and it's pretty much like the storyline is like Tom Hanks is like this band manager guy, like suit kind of guy, like with like a label and stuff like that. and there's this like American garage, like it's set in the 60s, you know, and it's this band that is just like a band. And then like he comes, he like finds out about them and he's like, you guys are gonna wear suits and you're gonna be the biggest thing ever, and they become the biggest thing ever, and it's like just this story of like how that happens. You know, it's kind of like a dumb movie, but like when I was a little kid, like I'm talking probably like 3 or 4 or something, it was
That's
like I loved.
everything. That's everything.
Yeah, I loved it, and it's funny looking back on because like you know the guy wears like the drummer guy who's kind of like the main character, like he wears sunglasses and he's like this like cool vibe or whatever, and it's like there's definitely some subconscious thing still tickling from that movie, but through that movie it was like my mom then was like, and my parents weren't really interested in the Beatles much, but
Oh wow.
she knew that I loved this movie, and so she was like, "Here are the Beatles." Just you know, because
Yeah.
this movie's kind of just like a Beatles biopic per se, but and then for me that was kind of just what took over and just kind of changed everything for me, you know.
If there is one musician or just like a historical figure, dead or alive, that you could
Yeah.
have a one-on-one interview with for
Mm,
an hour, who would that
mm.
be?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to go. It would have to be John Lennon. You know, I mean, he really is. He's just my full-blown hero, and he always kind of was. And, um, he's just the fucking man, you know, and I just fucking. It would have to be him. Yeah, I wouldn't think of. I wouldn't really be too interested in like anyone else per
Mm.
se. Um, yeah, that has to be it, probably. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself a year from now?
Year from now. Yeah. Definitely the next record should be out or
Who?
close.
Oh, damn, that soon?
Oh yeah, man. I make music, you know, like this isn't. I feel like that's the you know everyone's focused on like um, the TikToks or like stuff like that, which is important.
Hmm.
But like we must not forget, you know,
You're musicians.
if we are musicians, if we make music and that is our product, we should probably be doing it more than once every 3 years. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
The Beatles had fucking I think what is it like 9 or 11 or something records in the span of like 6 years. You know what I mean? Like
Woo. Yeah.
you gotta really and like I have record 3 done. You know, it's all over.
Wow.
It's ready to go. You know, but um, that for sure, and then just on the road a bunch and just like doing the whole thing, and then just going from there. You know, that's really what I got set.
Do you well, I mean, that was gonna be my last question, but now I have one more. Do you ever
Mm.
do you ever foresee Pleasure Pill transitioning from like a touring band to like a studio band? Because I know the Beatles sort of made that like sort of transformation where they're like, yeah, we're done. We're gonna lock in
Yeah,
and we're gonna get weird.
yeah. I mean, I would, yeah. I mean, I definitely see like the rest of my 20s for sure being on the road and like playing, and I enjoy that and I love that and I want that. And I just you know whatever comes after, and if that means I mean I love the studio, like the studio definitely is like my favorite place to kind of be sort of thing. Well, no, the same. I love it both, man. I'm just like all in
Yeah,
whatever. And you know, if people want more records, then I'll lock myself up more days out of the year to make more records. And if people want more shows, then I'm getting out there and I'm playing a fucking show. You know, like it's gonna
yeah.
be whatever the people want, I'll do. You know, I just I'll serve the music and I'll just you know whatever has to be, I'll do. But it would be cool. I would love definitely like a full, because we all work and stuff still too. So it's like it's not like we made this record with like the palm trees and the outside and like with our little coconut drink or something. And we're like, let's
Yeah.
make a record and I'm all Rip Rubin with it and fucking hit it out and stuff. Like, no, dude, I got fucking work at 8 tomorrow and like we need to get this taken now because like it needs to get done. So I
Yeah.
would love that experience of like going away for a record for a little bit and taking that in and doing that. But that's just right now. So.
Hey man, look, if you guys are ever in the position to where you guys are going to Hawaii or some shit to record a record and you're like,
Oh yeah.
we need a journalist guy to write about this. I just want to let you know
You're
you
there.
can reach me at markgriffinwrites@gmail.com. No, like you can just hit
We're
Ashley
fully
up.
there.
Yeah, we're there. Just
Perfect.
let me know and I will document
Yeah.
everything, bro.
Oh, dude,
But
you're there, man. I've already
yeah,
it's
man.
sorted.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could be like, and we could write you off. And not saying this is the position, but the like in the '70s, like bands like Aerosmith,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
would they would they would, you would have to do like your expenses or something for like what the record costed and stuff. And they had a fade tech, right?
Yeah.
Fade tech. What the fuck is fade tech? And it really was just it was just their drug dealer. And they wrote it off, you know. And not saying that's you, but like, we could probably find a position of some sort of like, where does Mark fit in this whole expense
Yeah.
report thing?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Like, I mean, we could fit Mark in without a doubt.
Yeah, I could just be journalist.
Or, our tour manager last year, our friend Angel, shout out. We would be like, oh, this is our drink tech.
There
Like,
we go.
because he's he's the guy. Or we would put like vibe manager or something.
Oh
Like
no,
he's man.
yeah, I
You could be like a vibe tech
the
guy.
vibe manager. Yeah, I
Yeah,
fuck with that.
perfect.
Yeah, I like that. There we
You're
go. Yeah.
managing the vibes. It's perfect.
Is there anything else about this current album, Hang a Star, that you want to talk about, or anything else that you have planned, or anything important that you just want to like address right now while you have the floor, or anything of the sort?
So much power. Wow.
So much power.
I think just people listen to the record and just do what you will with it and just love each other and have fun. Just be cool. That's really it. I think.
That's all.
Yeah, whatever else maybe. If you're thinking it, I probably am too. So why even waste the words? But
A humble
no,
guy.
yeah. I
A
think
humble guy.
maybe we could say this, but we're going back on tour. I think it announces next week, but we're going back on tour end of July with Benches again. And it'll be fun. It'll be like the East Coast, Brooklyn. We're playing New York. I'll see
Oh,
you, Mark.
let me
Right?
know. Yeah, let me know. Let
Yeah.
me know the dates, and I'm
All
there.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Vibe Tech that night.
Vibe
Hopefully,
Tech. Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
your duties are, available, then
Hey man, if you need the vibe tech there, just let me know. Me and wifey will pop up. Just let Ashley let us know, and we will be there.
Wifey could be assistant Vibe Tech. It's all
Assistant
there.
vibe tech. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time, bro.
But yeah, just more shows for sure. More music too. There's still more music, and we got more for you coming soon. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, just keep in touch, and it'll be great.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate this talk, bro. I feel like I really didn't get to know you, but more so I was just catching up with somebody that I met already, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was a fun feeling, man. It was so
Yeah,
cool.
man. This is nice, man. This is nice. But thank you for your time. Ashley, I appreciate you, girl, as always.
You're
And
the best.
yes, no. That's all pleasure pill, and that's you. Looking forward to the release of the album. I mean, I already got it, but I appreciate you guys so much, and good luck on everything, yo.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man.
Of
So
course, man. Stay in touch.
awesome. You definitely. All right.